The body is one of the most important areas of life, and it is rarely talked about in school, even though it affects your performance as a student, as a teacher, and any occupation that you are in. Because if you are not healthy with a wrong diet, you will just lack the energy. And the same applies to your fitness and your strength and the ability to heal from injuries and recover from diseases. All impacts all areas of life, because if you are healthy, you can have many wishes. But if you're sick, you only have one. So it is so crucial to get this right, and this is what we'll talk exactly in this video. How to level up your body, and I'll introduce you to my 3-step framework that you can really reach the next level. Before we dive deeper into the framework, I'd like to start with a story, because during my time as a student, I had many teachers who were in good physical shape, who were generally healthy and had very few sick days. But I also had these teachers who struggled to go up a couple of stairs and who were sick almost every second week. And some of them were even PE teachers. So in my physical education, in the sports department, I just didn't really respect the teachers who weren't fit themselves, who weren't even able to do the things that they were preaching about. But it doesn't necessarily just apply to PE teachers, because every other teachers automatically gained so much more respect, at least from me, when they were healthy and physically able to do various things, because it felt more like they had their life together, and whatever they were teaching and lecturing about seemed to have a lot more weight. So ever since then, I've always been looking for teachers who were experts in their field, who I felt like I could completely rely, because they were also not only talking about the things that you had to do, but they were actually taking actions themselves, and they were also walking the talk. So they had a lot more credibility, and over the time I really tested out a bunch of them, and I have discovered 3 people that I'd like to introduce you that completely changed the way that I look about the body and what is even possible. The first one is Eric Edmeades, and he thinks about food in such a simple concept, because he says everything that is food related can be backtracked to our ancestors. So things that our ancestors have been eating for thousands of years has evolved our microbiome and like our gut in a way that certain foods are just better for us than others. And everything that was available thousands and 10,000s of years ago will be much more healthy than anything else that is just produced chemically. Because once you start adding so much sugar and salt and artificial sweeteners to the food, it becomes less like food and more like junk food. And in order to really maintain our health, I think it's so important to just keep the healthy diet that our ancestors had, but also add the variety that we have access to today. The second person that I want to talk about is Alex, and he is a German YouTuber who really focuses on calisthenics, which is the exercise that you can do wherever you are, because it's just your physical body weight. And with that, you are able to do so many things. And if you think about it, at some point you're gonna run out of exercises. No, because you can start with like regular push-ups and then work yourself up to archer push-ups, which are like much more difficult, and then even one-handed push-ups, and then you can even progress beyond that and do handstand push-ups. So if you are able to transition through these different levels of exercise, you are able to train your whole body, making it much more efficient, and also allowing yourself to just save the money on going to a gym. And you can exercise wherever. So you save so much time and money by just doing calisthenics. And Alex has really been my guide for that. The third person is Wim Hof, and the way he talks about healing is just beyond anything that I've seen before, because he has such a simple concept of using temperature to allow yourself to sit in heat and cold and allow your body to more or less heal yourself by you just putting awareness to certain body parts, and all of that being scientifically validated and him recovering much more quickly from certain diseases, and all of that being proven in a scientific lab, and it was even able to be reproduced. With these people, you may have noticed that each of them has their own area of expertise. And this is the second concept that I'd like to introduce you to, which is the whole breaking down of an area, which is the body, and thinking about, okay, what does that incorporate? And for me, I feel like the body incorporates health, fitness, and healing. So each of these three guides that I've been talking about more or less exemplifies one of these sub-areas. Looking at the sub-area of health, I like to break it down even further into three categories, which are, in my personal opinion, food, longevity, as well as immunity. And with these categories, we have a much better understanding how health is broken down, and we can understand it not only as the big picture of just a part of the body, but we can zoom in all the way health and then to specifically food. The same applies to fitness. We can break that down into three categories as well, which I find to be fitness, endurance, and agility. And with that, our understanding of fitness improves a whole lot because we know what it consists of, and through that it's much easier to really understand how much there is actually to learn about each of these areas. The last sub-area is healing, which I like to break down into sleep, temperature, and medicine. And with this, again, our understanding of healing advances and transforms to a much more in-depth and holistic perspective. With the understanding of the sub-areas and how they are broken down into smaller categories, as well as having a guide for inspiration, we are able to create a vision for the future. But before we can do that, I always like to start with an assessment on where we currently are in terms of the level of the body. So for that, I've created a quiz that you can take completely for free down in the description that gives you an evaluation on all areas of life, so you see where you are particularly strong or weak, so you can develop your strengths even further. All of the links are down in the description. If you enjoyed this and found this valuable, I'd appreciate if you just like this video and maybe comment on what your favorite sub-area is, and if you know one of these guides, so I can see how each of these guides have their own influence, and that would also help the algorithm understand how much value we're actually providing here. So that would be massively appreciated, and until then, I hope I see you at the next level. Bye bye.